Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, wrestling fans of all ages, it is Aussieverse, and we are back for WrestleMania 41, Night 1. I am OmniBeau, joined by my guest tonight, Rob's Fat Stacks of Comics, and
I am not one of the men featured in that intro, just to be clear.
So, how do we feel about it so far, boys? I literally just walked out of it.
Oh, you want to hit? What's your format before we just break into it? Oh no, what's your preferred discussion format on this?
Okay, so I want to go through match by match. Although contradictory to that, there's not much that I can say about a lot of them, so we can just like sort of fast forward and mention them. But apart from that, before we do get into that, walking away from it so freshly, what is your overall feel about it? How did it go? Got it.
Well, for me, I'm a big story guy, and that's what I like about WWE is that they do the story element a little bit better than some of these others. But that makes it so when you have lackluster stories leading into this, and I feel that especially the matches here for night one, with the exception of the main event, granted, or I guess the bookend matches, I guess there was build up for the Gunther Jay match. I just didn't care. But essentially you had two that had some decent story build up, one or two in the middle that had some they just never, even though they had story build up elements that were going on, they just didn't hook me. The Charlotte Flair tiff didn't hook me. Even the stuff with Jade and Naomi, it didn't hook me. So, and that was and it should have, because that was a longer, slow build, but I think maybe it's the way it just kind of like lingered too long.
Yeah.
So that when you feel like the story hasn't hooked you building into it, the final match can only deliver. So at limits how much it can deliver in the end. So at the end of the day, thank God it's not a paid event anymore. That it's just, it's just on Peacock over here in America anyways. And I get that for free from my cable company. So
yeah, we get it with Netflix over here in Australia now.
Yeah. So, you didn't pay any extra for it.
Nah.
Thank God. Right. Because at the end of the day, if I had paid like the old days, $50 for that.
Yeah. Yeah. I certainly walked away from it feeling very like, I've got a lot of different feelings that I could go over, but if I'm going to put it in a nutshell, it certainly didn't feel like a WrestleMania. I'm hopeful that WrestleMania Night 2 will be different, but yeah, I'm looking at the matches here, and overall there was a small handful of ones that I was genuinely interested in, and we'll get into them individually, But yeah, man, I don't know. Apart from that ending, it was just another pay-per-view.
But my big takeaways are a couple observations I did have. One of them that was super big to me was, holy freaking advertising, Batman. There were 10 different logos on the mat, another 4 to 6 logos on the ring posts. On the turnbuckle pads. Then you had the digital marquees on the ring posts, plus the ring apron that each had a different logo advertisements going on. Plus you had the Prime hydration station there down at the freaking ring side. It's like, holy freaking crap. They have just become a sellout. We never had, say what you want to say about Vince. We never had freaking this level. I'm just waiting at this point before LA Knight's shorts no longer say LA Knight for him, but it's LA Knight shoes or something,
Yeah, but you know what, man? Like, I get that, and everything you've said is right, but I'd still rather this crap than the old crap. That's for sure.
Like I said, say what you will, but at least you didn't have. I get it. I'm not doing pay-per-view anymore. So deal with it, right? It's just like the internet. You're not paying for the internet, and so there's a bunch of freaking ads on the side. Nobody's forcing you to look at them. Well, except that I kind of have to, because you're rolling around on top of them. But I don't know.
Well, it's just like that. I put a note here for later, but I'll say it now. That Cody ad, that happened in the middle of nowhere for the alcohol? Was that not the cheesiest? I kept waiting for a payoff at the end of that ad. Do you know what I mean? Like someone belts him over the head or zombies come out for crying out loud. I don't know what, but I was expecting.
Oh my God, that's true. We used to have with under Vince, we had the zombie matches and stuff. That's right. I'm sorry.
And it's just him the whole time. Yes, gin or vodka or whatever the hell it was. You know,
The
drink it.
Warriors are coming out dressed as these characters from this video game. Go play this video game. It's like, oh God.
Yeah. Thought it was very good, but some matches didn't need to be there.
Yeah, it was. Some of the matches definitely felt like they're Monday Night Raw matches.
Yeah. All right, let's get into it then, shall we? So the first match was Jey Uso for the world title against Gunther.
Carefully, don't eat yourself, Papa.
Please go around. Tell us your thoughts on this match.
And so I didn't, obviously from day one when Jay won Royal Rumble, to me, I thought it was the wrong move. So this match didn't excite me. We've seen this match a couple times, so it was predictable as all hell. What the only real surprise would have been if Gunther hadn't won, had won. But I mean, it was like predictable as hell. The match itself, was okay. There was nothing exciting about it. There was nothing out of the ordinary about it. It was a regular Monday Night Raw match that just went a few minutes longer. And at the end, the way it ended with Gunther tapping to a choke out and where he just goes instantly to it, like he doesn't try to fight out of it. It's just that way of ending it was weaker than hell. If you wanted to have it done well, he should have not tapped, instead got completely choked out, a la the frickin' Stone Cold Steve Austin end, the WrestleMania 13 that they just honored. Let him just get choked out and pass out and lose the belt that way without actually tapping. So he's still a strong individual, and he can then come back and argue, I never tapped and blah, 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 blah. And, but it was a weak finish to a weak challenger. I honestly don't expect Jay's run to mount to much of anything. He's, but it'll probably go a couple months anyways, just because they want to, they're doing it to suck Roman off.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I've got some very similar thoughts, but we'll go around. How are you, Matty? Welcome.
How you guys doing?
Yeah, good, mate. Good. Just checking you can hear me. You checked out WrestleMania today, I'm assuming? You finished it?
Yeah, I watched it on mute because I was on Outback, but I got the idea. I unmuted it and muted my mic, whatever. I wanted to hear what was going on.
Fair enough. Did you check out the first match, Uso versus Gunther?
Could you care to elaborate?
I thought it was awesome that he won. I thought it was a good match.
Oh, okay. Okay. I'm going to elaborate a little on Rob here. So, first and foremost, right, one thing that really pisses me off about WrestleMania each and every year lately, except for a very small handful of people, is their goddamn entrances. This is WrestleMania. And they don't have over-the-top entrances for every single person that comes down that ramp anymore. What the hell? Ticket prices are higher than they've ever been before, and you can't put that money to some freaking... No, let's put them in a car, which we know they haven't driven in, and they just go for like a couple of meters, and then they get out, and they're all sorry. That's just my little bit, because I don't want to say that for every single match that we're going to be talking about. So I had to get it out now, okay? Because apart from a couple of like awesome ones that I loved, like Roman, for example, later, genuinely speaking, they were just crap. They're not WrestleMania entrances, and they need to change that shit because that really pisses me off. Now, right?
I mean, I get that because I mean, I kind of fast forwarded through most of the match, the intros to get caught back up. But like Jay, like I saw Jay when he came out, okay, he's gonna go through the crowd. I looked and saw how far that was. And I was like, yeah, I'm fast forwarding through this shit. There ain't no fucking way I'm gonna watch this for next 7 minutes, right? I missed Gunther, but it must have been like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
See, in comparison.
You're telling me that you couldn't have Gunther come out in any kind of special bad guy imposing way other than what he normally does? You know, like, come on. You don't need
Seth Rollins, though. Seth Rollins needs to fire his tailor because he wears the most atrocious clothes I've ever seen.
Yeah, we'll get to him when we get there. Yeah, that's a different ball wax.
So, Papa, maybe I'm exaggerating. Maybe not every match, but no. You know what? You're not changing my mind. It's WrestleMania. Every match should have a good entry. It doesn't have to be like $1 million entrances every single one, but something special other than what we see every week.
Yep.
Anyway, back to the match. Apologies. Yeah, but that was weak, man. That was weak. When he tapped out at the end, like, come on. What was that? Rob said it beautifully. I don't need to go into it anymore, but it was just weak. And I don't get it. There is so many different ways you could have written that ending, and it would have been so easy. And now, for the rest of his career, he tapped out in a matter of seconds. Like, come on.
Yeah, everybody else survives these finishers for 30 seconds while they fight and struggle to get to the ropes or any number of things. But oh no, not Gunther, the man who's held this title for all these days and put prestige on the Intercontinental title stuff. You put your arm around his neck to give him a tight hug, and he goes.
What I meant though, it was a good match overall until but there was that kind of ruined it at the end of it, I guess. But
it wasn't even. What about the match did you like? Let me ask you.
So I thought it was good. I just wanted because of the outcome I got.
But let me ask you this: what about the match? Did you feel anything about the match that they did was special? That was anything more than what you would have seen on Monday Night Raw?
Actually, no. You're right about that. I will have to agree with you on that. Yep. So
an average match.
Okay. Yeah. I wasn't giving it 5 stars. I'm not Dave Meltzer.
No, but I'm just saying, it's like we're talking about WrestleMania. It's like, is this a good WrestleMania match, right? Because we should match this up as not just a match. These are WrestleMania matches. These are supposed to be
match for
Monday Night Raw.
Like Raw or Backlash or something. But
plus, I do get the mentality of opening the show with the world title. But for crying out loud, man, it's the world title. And it's the first match on the card.
But because they've already destroyed that title. Look, after they combined the titles for Roman, so Roman could be the unified champion, and then they had to reintroduce a title, and they gave it to Seth, and Seth did do some work to try to establish that title. But since they gave Cody the other belt, all they've done is built him as like the cross brand, the baby face of the entire company. Line up that time. They've even their words, that every word that they use is basically builds that as like he's the real champion, and everybody. And this belt is just another mid-card belt. That's what they've broke it. And that's what we've got now. Now we have a mid-card level champion because, and that's all that Jay really is. I mean, he's not main event. Just because you can dance.
But I don't know. I like him.
I mean,
Yep, 100%. Yeah. Where does he go from here, really? You know what I mean? And plus, the guy has had 6 defenses, I think they said, in 250 something days as champion. Now, should you really be highlighting that? Like
Gunther, he defended it 6 times, and 3 of them were against Jay.
Yeah, like he's not a good stat.
Burn it up, baby. Really that's because they're all about WWE right now is all about building days as champion. Yeah. And so they're they almost like keep the champions off TV, and they're only going to have them do premium live events. And they'll come on to do stories, but they only if you're a champion, you only seem to wrestle those, and it's like it's annoying. But
there's theatrics.
Since they've been bought out KO or what do you call it, TKO or whatever they're called.
Yeah,
you see them like trying to bring in a mixed martial arts thing, like they have these press conferences and shit after like they've been in an actual boxing match or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah. So this match, meh. We got a meh champion on a meh title match. Everything about it was okay. It was mid, which is what it is. So yeah. Okay. So your next one. Go ahead, Bo. Hit us with it.
All right. So the next one is unfortunately, and this is no disrespect to the wrestlers, because again, I don't know if this says about me, but I individually really like these guys and have a lot of respect for them. But I just didn't care about this match, and that is War Raiders versus New Day for the tag team titles. I can't think of a bad thing to say about the New Day. I love that they're heels now. War Raiders, I just think, are amazing for their size, and I've always enjoyed them. But I didn't care about the match.
Right, because like I said at the beginning, we did a poor job of building up a story that had you vested in it, right? And this we had the video game up, down, down people versus two guys coming out dressed as video game players, video game characters. Oh wow! And we, the only way this match would have been interesting to me is if we had seen oh god,
the other tag team,
the third member of New Day who got kicked out.
Okay. I know you.
Big E.
Big E.
Yeah. If Big E had come out somehow in this and gotten involved, I would have been more interested in it. But no, I mean, so yeah, the New Day, they deal the titles. So what does that mean? We'll get to see those guys do another match against each other at the next pay-per-view. What do you do? But
that would have been cool. That would have been cool if he come out.
Yeah, I don't know. But again, it was mediocre build with a mediocre result. And at the end of the day, I don't know about you, but are there any of the tag team belts that you care about right now?
Not really.
Generally speaking, let's see. Obviously the two world. No, I don't care about Cody.
No tag team belts. Any of the tag teams, women's or men's, SmackDown or Raw. Do you care about any of them right now?
No, and that's ridiculous.
Or the divisions, right? Yeah, Steve. So
the tag team division is kind of weak, anyway.
Well, I mean, you've got some teams, but they just don't excite me. They're not doing anything that's exciting.
Christina.
Yeah, and it's again, it's because individually you can name a tag team, and I probably like them, whether it be the New Day to the Profits to Gargano and
DIY, Pretty Deadly, Motor Machine Guns. Yeah, they're all in their 4-way jerk off.
Ballroom Boys, what are they called?
I just said Pretty Deadly.
Pretty Deadly. They're so freaking talented too.
You know what? The tag team that I miss, that I like, and I hope that they get back together now that he's back, is with Taylor Bates back. I hope that he gets back together and starts teaming again with formerly known as Butch.
He has.
Well, I know that they did one thing together, but they haven't really started getting active in the division. I like those guys together. I think they're fun. But yeah.
All right. So, was everyone expecting New Day to win this?
I didn't know what to expect out of it, and I didn't really care.
Yeah. Okay.
No, I'm indifferent on that match. I'm indifferent altogether.
Abhishek, I think we were talking about overall, at least for myself, I'm kind of just like if you're putting on a scale of 10 out of 10, I'm like a 5.5, 5 out of 10. It's like, it's okay. overall, nothing great.
Maybe
I'd
it's
agree.
6. The main
Christina,
event-
thank you for
the main
dropping
event-
those links.
Like I think what y'all said earlier, like the main event probably saved not one, maybe, but
We'll get there.
okay. I know. I'm just
Oh, look at that.
I
All of a
always get
sudden we got Comic Journey here. Oh, Papa gives it a higher score. He liked it much more than I did. That's fair. Everybody's got their own personal thing.
Yeah,
All right.
me number 5. Let's see. Then after that was
Jade.
we had Jade Cargill versus Naomi. What did you think of this one?
Um,
Come on,
again-
Rob.
So I like the idea of Jade Cargill. The problem is her execution is
Yeah,
not
man.
there. It's there. You saw move transitions that were so clunky and so just odd. Like, why are you standing there for 30 seconds? Oh, because she's trying to get ready. There was just not a good rhythm and flow. It's like they grabbed 2 people off the street and said, without any practice, oh, you guys are going to wrestle and put on a match. And they were trying to figure it out as they went along. It just,
and there was one move where she did this. Jade was going to like throw her in the ropes or whatever, and she throws her leg up like a Hogan style front kick, big boot to the face. And I thought she was going to take her head off. Like it looked like they had not even practiced that.
well, I mean, that's good. That's how it should look ultimately. But actually, what was really weird was when I first watched it, when they first started the match, what was really distracting to me actually was, and this is good on her. So a lot of the women have taken to wearing, body suits with skin color, material so that way it smooths out and you don't get all the shit from the disgusting men who go like, oh, look at her, she's got her little love handle, she's fat, right? It allows them not to have to worry about all that ridiculous stuff. And it's sad that has to be the case, but her bodysuit portion was so well skin tone matched that at first I didn't realize she had that on, and I just kept looking at her back where the seam was, and I go, what's wrong with her spine? It's like, because it would she'd move a certain way sometimes and it would look all distorted. I thought she had major scoliosis or something going on until I realized what it was. I was like, oh, that's the seam of her outfit. Oh my goodness. But
That's hilarious.
And maybe she should, she's always been very scantily clad, but maybe she should invest in 3 or 4 more square inches of material, because she, I think, fell out at least once, if not twice, and she was constantly having to readjust, and have a little more costume. It's okay. You don't have to constantly be readjusting it. But ultimately, end of the day, the match ended the way it needed to end for that story. So it was predictable. The lead up story was unfortunately well too long. Jade has shown some improvement, but it's slow improvement. I honestly just don't think that she's should be on the WWE roster. I think she should be on the NXT roster. I know they spent a lot of money on her, and that's why she's being given prolonged choices time up here. But she really should be in NXT for much long for a extended stint, in my opinion.
She's got a great look,
Yes,
but you're right. It's like maybe she needs a little more polishing.
Some people make great things out of just having a great look. Lex Luger did it, but Ultimate Warrior did it.
Yeah, for a
but
while.
So I mean, there's a lot of wrestling's full of Hall of Famers that had a good look and had no talent. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I want the women divisions to really be good, and I'm just tired of seeing a lot of matches where, when I watch them, the thing that stands out to me is their ability to flow from one move to the next. That there are a lot of women who they just really slow down as they prepare to transition, and it just breaks it just really breaks me out of what's going on. And Jade just has a lot more of that. And maybe that's on Jade. Maybe part of it's on Naomi. Maybe Naomi's not helping. I'm not sure which 100% it is, because it does take two to tango. But at the end of the day, to me, it just looked like a rough match for NXT.
Yeah, I think, again, Jade looks great, but that's the problem. But sorry, that's not the problem. That's just it's not enough, because I've really wanted to love her, because I've fallen into the gimmick, and I love the super powered, real come to life X-Men form in the WWE. I can't help but just be drawn to that character and go, yeah, go kick ass, but what you see is not what you get in your head, and unfortunately, she's got a great kick. She's got a great kick, but that's about it.
There's three elements available to her, right? She only has one. She needs to get one more. Either she needs to have great in-ring skills to go along with her look, or she needs to get personality to go with her look. Because if you don't have, if you're going to live off of just you look good, you're out. You're not going to last. But if you can at least couple with that good personality to go along with it, then you can probably fake some of the rest of it.
Yeah. So going back to the match then, with Naomi versus Jade Cargill, I've got to tell you, man, when Naomi came out to that new entrance music, and we know how bad the entrance musics are in the last God knows how many years, but I don't know if it's just because it's different and they're fully committed to a bad Naomi, but that entrance theme and music, I did dig. Again, I don't know if it was really WrestleMania worthy, but it was just so good. And I loved how she really has dived into this character as well. When she was standing in the ring as she walked in, waiting for the entrance music to stop and the next person to come in, you just see her with the crowd and all this, man. And I'm just like, you know what? Even if this doesn't work out for you, you can tell that you're really trying and you're giving it your all. And I really like that, man.
I don't know if I say maybe she is, and maybe just the writing is kind of sad. I watched the SmackDown, for example, which unfortunate that they shoehorned the Jade and Naomi feud in the same conversation as the triple threat for the women's championship, right? But the conversations with her and Bianca stuff, they just feel to me there's something that's not hitting right to me. It's not quite landing. I like the idea of Naomi heel. I definitely like the idea of her as a heel much more. I don't care for her much as a face. And I think she has the potential, much higher card potential as a heel, because they need some good, strong women heels other than Charlotte, who doesn't want to be one, but is one. But
we'll get to that later.
I think I just want some of some better writers, I think, maybe for some of that dialogue, because some of the dialogue just was at times seems a little clumsy. That's all. But
yeah,
I think she's got a lot better potential there.
Yeah.
I felt like she pretty much just carried her the whole way. Unfortunately, there was I think one good spot with Jade Cargill, but yeah, I felt like Naomi just carried her the whole way, and she really owned her character. I thought Storm's entrance was kind of cool. I thought, yeah, she looked absolutely great. There was no denying that. Yeah, that's actually all I've got written on it. How do you feel about Naomi losing? Did you want her to win to justify a heel turn, or do you think Jade Cargill needed to win because it was her first one-on-one WrestleMania match?
I think she had to win just from the story. If you have this powerhouse character that you've built up, and she gets attacked from behind and thrown out. She's taken out of action. Somebody takes her place and all this stuff. That revenge arc. I'm coming back to revenge arc, and she's gone into the elimination chamber. She's torn shit apart to get to her, and she's this all this stuff. If you then have her not win, and even if you have her dominate throughout the match and it's some kind of fluke win, I think it still hurts her. I think she had to win. It's the only way that you advance that character. Naomi didn't need to win. That can come, but it can come. But I mean, right now, like in this particular storyline, Naomi doesn't have to win as a heel to continue to be strong. Naomi's a legit wrestler. We understand that. And the fact that she loses this doesn't hurt her at all, whereas it could potentially really hurt Jade, in my opinion.
I think Bianca's going to heal tomorrow. Yeah, well, that's what I'm hoping for as well, Papa. That's what I'm hoping for as well, man. I reckon it's been a scam the whole time. They've been in on it together. All right, moving on. We then have Jacob Fatu versus LA Knight. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, LA Knight.
It's fine.
You mean the Timu Stone Cold Steve Austin? Yeah.
He's part Stone Cold Steve Austin, part Rock.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get it right, man.
Which incidentally is just because he was the video game model for those characters, which is then hilarious to then see his shtick basically be a combination of the two. But I mean, the outcome of this match ended the way I thought it needed to end. I did not care about LA Knight versus Fatu so much as I care about what comes next. The Fatu versus Solo buildup, that whole animosity within that group, that has storyline potential that potentially intrigues me. Whereas anything they were doing with LA Knight, great. You got your little mid card belt finally. You've got some recognition. You're still somewhat over with the crowd. I'm glad you got some time in the spotlight, and you can help to continue to put over some talent. But you know what? I'm not. You don't excite me. You're not a main eventer.
Well, when Jacob Fatu came down that aisle, and you know that it's the biggest crowd he's ever worked in front of ever in his life. And he straight away, like at the end of the ramp, looked at a kid and just did the whole thing that I just loved. I just said to myself, dude, you like, I don't know if somebody told you to do that then and there or not, but that was
it's in his blood.
Timing. That was such perfect timing, and it was just like, oh. And then he gets in the ring and he just stares at the camera for like a good 20 seconds, just staring, And I'm like, man, this guy, he's killer, man, he's killer. And LA Knight, I've liked since day one, but yeah, it's gotten stale, it's gotten boring, and I wanted Jacob Fatu to go over. I thought they both killed it for that match. That's really all I can say.
It was a decent match, but I mean, like I said, for a where do we go from here? The storyline potential with Jacob much more interesting than if you had kept the belt on LA Knight.
Yeah.
Matt agrees. Excellent.
No, also, I will say this. LA Knight had his little run, like you said.
Uh-huh.
You got Fatu, who's a young and up and comer. This is a good belt for him. Puts him in a good position. Maybe they can do some more with him.
Yeah. I want to see him and Solo go have fun.
Yeah.
I think Solo.
Jacob's sort of overshadowing him, only.
Well, that's it. But I want to see that jealousy. I think you build up that jealousy angle, right? Like Solo was supposedly. It starts off as being supportive, but now but he thinks he's still going to be running the group. But now, you got Fatu's got the belt. So he thinks he's running the group. You start getting the animosity build between them, much like you're doing with over in the Judgment Day with Dominic and
Finn.
Finn Balor, thank you.
And the
Old man brain doesn't
back
process.
in the day during the ruthless aggression era with the God, what's their name? Why can't I think of their name now? Evolution. When Randy Orton won the belt, and the next night, Triple H was like,
Yeah. I don't know about Fatu's visa issues.
Yeah, same here. But yeah, man, I thought it was a good match, and I'm glad he went over. Moving on, we've got El Grande Americano versus Rey Fenix. Now, I can't believe how into WWE are with this character. It's actually quite shocking to me. Like, I've always sort of enjoyed it and laughed at it, but tonight the intro for Americano was just oh my god! Like, how long is the? Why is so much? If I had to live through that, and then they unmasked him at the end of that match, and we got the closure for that storyline, I would have accepted it. But the fact that he won and went over.
We've done this before. I mean, Papa knows. Hulk Hogan wore the mask and all this other stuff. We've done it with fucking Blue Blazer. We've done it with all this shit. Yeah. And it's just recycling stuff. And I get it. It was supposed to be. I'm curious if this was the original booked storyline ending was for Americano to go over, or whether it was supposed to end with Rey Mysterio winning. And because Rey Mysterio couldn't go, that they called an audible and decided to extend the story to try to do this. But if you were going to do this, then Rey Fenix wasn't the guy to put in that spot. I get giving Rey Fenix, he's a big free agent signing, and you want to give him that WrestleMania spot. But to have him get that WrestleMania spot, then have him lose, that's bad. Whereas you could have put Dragon Lee, which the story buildup had been there, and he's part of Ray's group. So at least there's a more logical storytelling element for Dragon Lee to take over, rather than, I tag teamed with you guys one night in a triple threat out of randomness, and I threw him out over during the Battle Royale, so why not? That just seemed odd. Then Dragon Lee loses this match with this, and it continues that story that you've been building up, and it makes more sense. This does nothing for the story. It does nothing for Rey Fenix, and it does nothing really for Gable in all this. The one thing that did strike me about this actually was Rey Fenix coming out. When he was coming out, the way that the camera was looking at him, and you see the crowd all around him as he's coming down the rampway, and he's looking out and just looking at the size of the crowd. And I'm thinking in my mind, he's thinking right now, AEW ain't shit. How many times did he come out to a freaking AEW crowd that was like 5,000 people something, and he's like fucking walking. Jesus Christ.
I'll be honest, I went to the bathroom during that match, so
it was a good match, but I don't think it's a WrestleMania match, or at least it didn't have the right build. A joke is a joke. I think they just pushed it too far with tonight's thing, and I'm surprised they didn't let Rey Fenix go over. But I'm a big fan of Chad Gable, so I'm glad he finally won at WrestleMania as well.
It makes sense that Rey Fenix doesn't go over. It's just not. It doesn't make sense that Rey Fenix was in the match, because Rey Fenix wasn't involved in the story at all. For him to win it and resolve it, that's like, okay, now you ended this. You resolved the story that he wasn't involved in. That's why, it didn't make. He's the wrong player to be in the match. It should have been Dragon Lee. So the Dragon Lee he had already been vested in the storyline. You just continue that. Maybe you even have, once again, Gable unmasks him yet again to continue that and build it up for Rey Mysterio.
Shouldn't be on the card because
maybe even had just pulled it all together. You're right, but yeah, I just think that Rey Fenix, I love the man. I'm glad he got to go in for a WrestleMania crowd, but he wasn't right as a fill-in for that story, in my opinion.
We do want to give a shout out at this time to our 4 lifers. They are our paid members. We want to thank each and every single one of you. Some of these individuals have their own YouTube
Crazy
channels.
bastards.
So
There's a
go
lot
check
of them.
out Rob's Fat Stats, a Comic Simple Simon. We've also got Cliff on Comics. And we have Zars Collectibles and Comics, and of course, Heroes for Hire Comic Club. And where is it? Still only 35 cents. Each and every single one of these channels is very different to each other. And I watch them all myself because they're all fantastic content. And if you're not a paid member, don't worry. The best way to support Aussieverse is by subscribing to the channel, liking the videos, and commenting. And last but not least, before we come back with our 2 last matches reviews, this is a word from our sponsor, Comic Book-a-Roo.
Comic Book-a-Roo, proud sponsors of Aussieverse for all your comic book needs. Graphic novels, hardcovers, omnibuses, single issues. Don't forget to pre-order every Sunday at Comic Book-a-Roo.
Hop
All
to
right,
it.
boys. It is Charlotte Flair versus Tiffany Stratton. Go.
Man, I don't. There are a couple throughout this match. First of all, I saw, man, there's too much hair. I was just waiting at time for the hair to get tangled together and for them to get stuck and like, have to like do one of these like, oh man, our Schwartz got twisted type things, because it was just the hair was just all over the place at times. From this, I mean, look, obviously Flair might be known for burying people on the mic, but she can, she's one of those wrestlers that can often, she could probably wrestle a broom, right? And put on a decent match. Stratton looked for the most part pretty good. I think Stratton she's definitely got a lot of potential. She's still green, but she did in my opinion, I thought she sells very well. There was a lot of stuff in there where she did a very good job selling. I mean, look, she even had part of a tooth come out. That's impressive selling. Whoever does that Comic Book-a-Roo needs a new job. Oh, wow. Tough crowd. No respect, I tell you. So I mean, she did a good job selling well. The match overall I thought was pretty decent. The transitions were definitely better than the other women's match. There were still at times a couple that were clunky, but there were some that impressed me that I really liked. I thought that was nice to see that Flair didn't get the belt. That she did put over Stratton to help build Stratton up. Otherwise, Stratton's run would have been completely useless. But so now that all of a sudden it's like to see that's another. We've seen it before where they do this. Like she gets the title vis-a-vis the Money in the Bank, and now you have her beat a well-respected veteran.
Yeah,
that all of a sudden gives you credibility to your title run. So I think it's the right thing to do for Tiffy. Flair didn't need to win the match, obviously, by any stretch of the imagination. Nobody all of a sudden thinks that Flair sucks. And she got to dominate most of the match and get just pull up only to be lose in the end. But man, yeah, Tiffany, she ends up with the welt on the forehead and obviously a need to go to the emergency dentist.
Yeah, I saw that. She chipped a tooth.
At least.
Yeah.
You don't think Charlotte was a little extra stiff considering all the comments she made about her failed marriage?
Oh, there probably was some stiffness going on in there, but I think that I would be willing to bet you that also some of that is how Flair works anyways. Because we've seen some of her other matches, like her and Rhea and her and I'm trying to remember who else I remember watching. Oh my God, her and Nia Jax, where I was like, are they shoot fighting? What's going on here? There's some.
Yeah, I thought they were New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Exactly, right?
So
this was one of the for me, this was the number 2 match on the card as far as performance overall. From a wrestling standpoint, that I enjoyed more of it than I didn't enjoy.
Well, the build up for the match though was kind of
It was and that's. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What they did in Chicago, and it just looked like Charlotte didn't want to be a heel. It looked like she wasn't really into it. She tried to play to the crowd, even though she's a heel, which I thought was kind of odd. And I don't know. I think Tiffany, which I don't think was intended, but I think what kind of added some spice to it when she started talking about her getting divorced.
Yeah, well, it definitely is. She struck back, and obviously Tiffany's character was originally seemed to be like when she first was introduced, she was kind of being a heel, but the crowd is glommed onto her and kind of making her a face. So I think they're kind of feeling through that whole heel face thing in this match during the build-up. But it goes back to what I was saying at the top of the card, where I think it is this the build-up as a story goes. Your build-up, if it's only so, your match it's really difficult for the end of that story to really be phenomenal if the story all the way up to that point is just okay, right? Yeah. So it's a limiting. I think Charlotte losing the backlash was from Charlotte going over the line. No, I don't know. I think that this is just how it should be. Like I said, we've seen it before. She's new. You're testing her as a potential. You gave her you had her beat Nia via the Money in the Bank. So you need to now establish her as she needs to face somebody to legitimize her win. Because up until then, it's always, but you got the title via Money in the Bank.
Yeah. Or she would have been a transition champ and it would have, I mean, she beat Charlotte.
She did defend it though, but I mean, didn't she defend it like after Nia Jax? She defended against somebody, but I mean, totally unmemorable.
Well, that's what I meant. Like, but it would have been like you kind of would have lessened her.
Was it Bailey?
You get to build her up, and like if she lost to Charlotte, so it kind of puts validity behind hers holding the belt because she got it with the Money in the Bank, but she's actually fought one of the best in the world in the ring. So that was my.
Was it? Thought. Hey, Papa, was it Bailey that Tiffany beat? Yeah. Okay. So she's now back to back. She's gone after having won the bank. She's beaten Bailey. She's beaten Charlotte. So from a standpoint of legitimizing her, from the people that she's beaten, defended the title against, those are two, top tier characters. So I think that was the right move. So I don't think it was retribution for anything. Definitely just needed to be.
So I'm a major sucker for a vignette, and that vignette for Tiffany and Charlotte with Lady Gaga's music just had me pumped for the match. I'm not going to lie. I'm watching that just going, I'm perfect celebrity. Dun, 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 like just getting ready for that match, man. And I found it a lot of times pretty stiff, to be honest. It didn't
flow.
Did Tiff. It didn't flow as much as it should have at times.
It was stiff too.
And you could see Charlotte talking sporadically throughout the match as well.
Yeah, I didn't know. I couldn't quite tell. I think it was meant. I think it seemed like she was doing smack talk during the match. That's what it seemed like.
That's what it always should look like. But
right. But it did seem like she was. At other times I was like, is she directing it that blunt? I mean, she's not because she wasn't doing a good job of like trying to like do it while you're in the walk or anything else. It was just kind of like sometimes very overt, and you're like, oh.
There was one time she was flying her back, and she just goes, and I'm like, what are you doing?
Well, you could definitely tell that Charlotte was the one. They probably, that's probably on purpose because she's a veteran, so they want to have her kind of direct the match.
Sure, but.
Well, Charlotte definitely would have directed the match, but there's a way to do it,
Yeah, you don't do it. You don't just phone it in. It's like.
What did you think of Tiffany's plastic doll entrance?
I fast forwarded through most of the entrances in order to get caught back up to real time.
I mean, at least they tried something, I guess. But how cheesy was that, man? Oh.
The only thing cheesier would have been have her do coming out to I'm a Barbie girl.
Yeah, true. But it was a good match though, I guess, All right. Well, then I guess, yeah, we've only got the last one to go, and that is the main event: Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins versus CM Punk.
Did anybody think that this match was going to suck?
No,
I mean,
no.
this
It
is
was very,
this was the match on the card that you knew that was going to deliver no matter what. You weren't going to get that talent in there and not get them to deliver simply because of nothing else. Whatever you want to say about Rollins. I mean, and I'm a big detractor of Rollins a lot of times. I don't like the fact that he wears women's clothing. I don't like the fact that you know, some of his attitude on a lot of stuff, but I will recognize like the man is a phenomenal worker. And whether he's hurt or not or anything else, he will put on a show. And from that aspect, it was great. Now, my observations coming into this were like, first of all, this is when I did watch entrances. Seth's entrance.
yes. I was just reading my own notes, and I was reading it very thin.
I looked at that at first when he's out there playing with a flamethrower and a giant plastic suit, PVC suit or whatever that was. I was just thinking of electrical heat shrink and was just waiting for it to somehow either catch on fire or shrink like a shrinky dink around him, making this cocoon and having to have freaking EMTs come extricate him from the freaking
out of it. Well, like I said, he's a great athlete. In some ways, he kind of reminds me of a HBK because even if he's hurt, he can do a good match.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say he's full HBK though. Nobody is like that.
No, that's different. Yeah.
But he needs to fire his tailor.
Yeah, that's his style that he likes to do. But I mean, it's all you look at it. It's like he's wearing like a lot of times see-through blouses and all kind.
Yeah.
It's always his weird stuff. I'm like, oh, I don't know. Do you shop in your? Do you go to your wife's side of the wardrobe and grab her clothes? I don't know.
Well, you remember that skit on the Chappelle show about Prince? He's like, we'll call this shirts against the blouse.
Yeah. Roman Reigns, his entrance, of course, it's Roman Reigns' entrance. I mean, it's a little bit off, obviously not having Paul Heyman come down with him, but I mean, it's Roman Reigns. The only thing that I had my weird notes I had here throughout the match. It wasn't really interesting, but throughout the match, his sneakers were just bugging me. I don't know what it was, but his goddamn his Air Jordans or whatever, they were just driving me crazy. There was something about them. They just didn't look right. Okay. And then CM Punk's entrance, did anybody think that Living Color was still around?
Yeah, I know, right?
I mean, okay, great. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if they actually do gigs anymore or not. And this was like their first gig since 1997.
When they came out, I'm like, they've gotten people that sound exactly like them. And then the camera panned around to him, and I'm like, holy crap! Like,
well, that's not the first time they've been there for Punk like that. I think it was another WrestleMania. I think they played at.
So that's all they have. The only gigs they get these days are when Punk needs to make an appearance. They probably make enough money off of Punk with that because they get royalties every time that song plays on TV. So they probably or either that or they signed one hell of a licensing deal, one or the other. But actually, they probably got a licensing deal for it. But still, they did good with that song for him. But the match itself, again, like you didn't think it was gonna be bad. It was a 3-way match. The same thing you see in a lot of 3-way matches that sometimes on this stuff, right? I'm always curious though what people's thoughts are within a 3-way match, or sometimes you see it oftentimes in battle royales too, where somebody's beating on somebody and a third person comes walking in to interject into that, and they always attack the guy who's got the leg up. It's like, why? No matter what your animosities are, it's like most of your animosity's been with Seth. Seth's getting his ass kicked by Roman, and what do? You go and you attack Roman. Why don't you join in and start attacking Seth instead? It's just kind of weird. But it's just a trope, I suppose.
It's kind of hard to write different dynamics in a three-way, I think, as well. When you've got like you've always got the one gets injured for a little bit, so he's out, and then he comes back when you least expect it, and all that sort of stuff.
I kind of like the way they played it too at first, though, when they're all three and they're just standing there looking at each other, and then Punk gets out of the ring and he puts his arm around Paul Heyman, and they're all, and it's like trying to play it smart or something, like you get them in there and fight. And there was a lot of cool like little spots in there, like the when he was getting ready to do the neck breaker on Roman, and then here comes Seth charging and he DDTs him and neck breaks Roman at the same time.
There's a lot of great stuff that went on in the match, and probably because they have a proper build. This story has been built up over years and years and years. The hatred of these characters of one another. Nobody in there. It's a proper three-way, triangle of hate. Nobody likes one another or tolerates one another from a character perspective. So from a three-way match, it's a brilliant match. It's the performers are great at it. I wish in wrestling, one of the wrestling tropes that drives me crazy is, can we get past the fact that, ladies and gentlemen, yes, it's true. Steel is a metal, but metal is not steel. Can we stop calling everything steel?
Yeah,
because
when I was
I'm
a little
tired of steel trash cans. Come on, and steel chairs, and maybe the steps are steel. Okay, that one I might give you.
I kind of never pick up the Prime bottle, hitting Rollins with it.
Yeah.
Every now and then I'll be watching it with Claudia, and then when they do that, and she'll know she's not really paying attention, I turn around to her and I go, "They hit him with steel.
You hit him with a steel napkin.
Still aluminum. It's still aluminum.
But I'll tell you, for me, during it,
maybe
the single best, I think, for me, the best. There were two things that looked that stood out from moves in the matches. One was, because I got to be fair, I called out the ladies for their transitions. There's a spot where Punk goes to imitate Roman Reigns and does the whole thing, and he runs like he's going to spear him, and instead transitions into a Samoan drop.
Yeah.
It looked dumb as fuck because CM Punk starts off running and immediately he slows down to like a stutter step before he doesn't. It's like there's zero. It's not a smooth transition. It's just awkward as all hell, and it was rough as crap.
Do you think something happened in the transition there, like that he stopped before that he meant to do the spear, and maybe something happened like he?
I just don't think he thought he didn't practice it, and he said, I could do that. And it was clunky. Whereas on the other hand, fluid as fuck was the spear into a pedigree. Roman goes to put the spear on freaking Seth, and Seth turns it into a pedigree.
I've always had a little bit of an issue with that. Yeah, it might look good, but come on. You try doing it. If you're the guy doing the spear and you're running at the guy, like, unless the guy has the most strongest knees in the entire world, he's not controlling where your head's going, first of all. And secondly, if you're the other guy doing the pedigree on a guy charging at you, your timing better be.
Most of these moves require a certain amount of suspension of disbelief, but the transition from one to the other, and then from that into the stomp, was fluid. It was clean. I totally loved it.
Yeah. He about did pop.
I did like how they each got their own moments of like, I'm the man. I did predict, I don't know if you saw yesterday's show or not, or maybe I've said it a few times as well, but I predicted the Paul Heyman ending, him going with Seth. And when it happened, I loved it, because now I can't wait to see what happens.
I'll be honest, I didn't see it coming. I didn't know what was going to happen until the very end, though, when he handed the chair and he kind of eased behind him. I said, "Uh oh." You know,
Paul Heyman, if you look at his career, as a character, he can't be a face for very long at all. This guy is the Penguin in the WWE universe.
Oh, yeah.
And he has got to go heel as quickly as he can. And what a great opportunity to now.
And,
Well,
you know,
the question is Seth going to be heel, though?
Yeah, he will be. Seth, I reckon this will change Seth's character now a little bit. At least I'm hoping it is. No more of this flamboyant crap. Like, be more of just a heel, you know?
I had a feeling he was going to be the heel, though, because he's been going that way for a while. If you hear his promos in the last couple of months, the way he's acting, like the thing with Punk, and also, you know, with that chair at the end, and he handed it to Seth, it kind of harkened back to when Seth betrayed the Shield with a chair.
And he name dropped Moxley as well.
Well, I know, like he said, I heard the Mox in there. I was like, ooh, somebody mixed up.
Yeah,
yeah.
But
fourth wall.
I don't know. For some reason, I don't see Seth going full heel. I kind of, I don't see that his character's been face either. He's just been Seth. It's just kind of in between. He's fluid, much like the gender of his clothing. He's been fluid, and so you know, I think that he can do whatever he wants to do depending upon what opponent he's up against, because he just sees himself as this thing above everyone else. That he, and although if you want to take it, I can see him almost morphing into a bit of like the Roman Reigns type tribal chief type thing of just thinking like, I am the savior. But we already have that though with his Messiah bit. So I don't know.
Yeah, no, I'm hoping for a completely new. I hope he's reinventing himself because that will get me interested in Seth Rollins again.
Well, I definitely think that this rival, this group that you got, I think you still got more going on with that. CM Punk in there involved in that stuff. There's at least one more match in this for sure. And I think the Roman stuff and Seth is that. I think this obviously sets up a Seth and Roman feud for a while, potentially.
We need a triple threat Hell in a Cell match, all three of them.
No, I think really quickly CM Punk maybe jettisons out of it. So if your the whole thing is to get him a title run at some point, you know, he can go fight with Jay, Roman and Seth. Continue thing long.
I'd like to see him and Cody at some point. I'd like to see him and Cody at some point. I don't know if CM Punk's ever going to go with Cody, but excuse me.
I don't know.
Well, I guess thank God it had the women's match and the triple threat at the end and the Jacob Fatu, I guess. The rest I probably could have lived without. So as a WrestleMania, I guess in hindsight, that really doesn't sound that great. I did enjoy it, though. I did enjoy it, but WrestleMania, you know?
Yeah, those, in my opinion, all those AEW issues were, he was not I don't think he was the aggressor in any of that. I think that there's a lot of people, I think there's a toxic environment in the locker room at AEW.
Well, we're not going to go down that road because we're going to be here for another.
So let's, if Bo, I don't know, this is your show, so I hate to kind of take over, but I was almost about to. I was about to, sorry.
No, but hey, by all means, floor is yours, sir.
Should we transition real quick into night 2?
Oh, yeah, right. No, good idea, actually. Yeah, okay. Obviously, though, I'm still going to be doing a night 2 show tomorrow, probably a bit earlier because I plan to watch that one on time tomorrow. So if everything goes well, I will be streaming straight after night 2, hopefully with these boys again. And if anybody else wants to join, feel free. So before we do go, let's have a quick talk about night 2, Rob.
Yeah. So I'm curious as I'm looking at it. I'm going, okay, what do you guys think? Randy Orton's open challenge. What do you think? Who do you think is he gonna take on tomorrow?
Are they going to bring somebody back that we've seen in a while, or is it going to be somebody already on the roster? That's what I'm interested to find out.
I mean, that's a good question, right? And you're bringing somebody in. Oh, in theory, you're not bringing somebody in to beat Randy. You're assuming that Randy's going to win, but that's not necessarily for a given. But who would you have him bring in? Who would you bring in? Because if you bring in we obviously have rumors of people who have signed recently. But if you bring in somebody that you just
Aleister Black and Rusev are definitely coming back.
Yeah,
right. You have right. Well, I'm saying they haven't been. What has WWE announced them though officially?
Yeah, Aleister Black has been having vignettes, and it's I think next week on SmackDown. And Rusev, I wouldn't be surprised if it was Rusev for tomorrow. However, the issue with that is you can't have Rusev lose on his first match back. And I don't see Randy losing either. So either it's a no DQ because of shenanigans, or it's not Rusev at all, and it's Nick Aldis or somebody.
Yeah.
Well, see, I think that the Nick Aldis one is gone now. I mean, that's one I wanted to see, but given that they did nothing with it after the RKO, that just seems like okay, you did not build that story, so you lost that opportunity.
And I noticed he's back he was back the other day. He made an appearance on Billy Corgan's NWA. So he may be gone for good.
Well, no, I don't think he's gone. I just don't think they dropped the ball on that one. Rusev, I agree with you. I think that having him come, if you have him come out to do this, he's got to win then, or you're gonna have to, because otherwise hey, we want you to come out and then you're gonna lose. I mean, it just doesn't do anything to help build any momentum for him. And now, granted, Randy, there's probably ways you can have Randy lose the match. Especially if you have some sort of shenanigans or somebody comes in and messes with it, but especially if there's somebody that you want Randy to ultimately start feuding with, right? So you could bring in Rusev to this. Let's say maybe he's gonna be on SmackDown. Aleister Black's coming in there. Maybe you want him to ultimately feud with him. So maybe Rusev comes out. They have the match. But before the match ends, at some point, Black comes out and interferes or does something that causes Randy to lose it. So now, as you spin to your SmackDown the following week, now you can start building this. You have a reason for them to be a rival, or whatever that next rival is. That's the kind of way that makes sense to me. Otherwise, I just don't know. Maybe you bring in Karrion Kross, but I mean.
What if they end up being Brock Lesnar?
No, believed to be Solo or Uncle Howdy, because there is rumors about what's her name? Alexa Bliss and that faction coming back.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously it was. What was that, Matt?
I said it's going to be Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Mark my words.
No. Obviously, with Solo, I think that if they were going to do that, they would have announced it ahead of time instead of being an open challenge, since they did the weak ass fight the night before. So I don't think that if Howdy is cleared, that could be somewhat interesting. Potentially, simply with especially if. Obviously there was the stuff between Randy and the Fiend. Randy and the Fiend had history and stuff, and so there could be some ways to do that potentially, and you don't necessarily have to have a match that ends with that, especially if Alexa either shows up to screw it up, or God, what if you put Aleister Black with them too? I mean, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I've thought that too. And I think he is cleared very recently, Pop-Up. Yeah, man.
So,
Other than that, though, it's a legit I have no idea who it could be
Yeah.
because I'm not really convinced it's either of them that we've said.
Yeah. So, anyways, I'm interested. That's got surprisingly, I guess, maybe by having nobody named has done more to make me interested just to see who they name.
Yeah.
Than probably if they had, unless they had gone with Nick Aldis, where I mean, I don't think anybody would have thought Nick Aldis was going to win, but people would have been interested potentially in seeing it, and especially to give Nick a chance to perform on the, hey, not only did you never make it to WWF, but we're going to let you do WrestleMania. Woo, woo, that's spicy.
I'm looking forward.
I want to bring back Dustin Rhodes. We'll bring it back for it. Go, Dustin.
Yeah, apparently not.
Drew,
Apparently not, man.
God, no, I'm just kidding.
No,
Drew
I was thinking that too.
I'd love to see because Dustin's still a good worker.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's not fluid unless you want to bring him back just so that way Randy Orton can kill another legend. I mean, that's just the only reason. Drew McIntyre and our man
Yep.
Damian Priest.
Damian Priest, yep.
Raider Nation says he really wants Cross though. Yeah, carrying Cross would be okay, and you could see him losing. I just wish that McMahon hadn't screwed up Cross.
Yeah, man.
Because Cross was awesome at NXT. Yeah.
Yeah, I loved it, man. Absolutely loved it. I dug it. So yeah, we know Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre could potentially steal the show. They both are very capable of it. The only other matches that I'm genuinely looking forward to is obviously John Cena, Cody Rhodes. We've then got the triple threat for the women's title and the four-way for the Intercontinental title. The only thing that I'm hoping to see really, I guess, out of the IC is what Batmantha on the show yesterday said she hopes to happen, which now I do, is Dominic steals it and he becomes the IC
You're
champion.
just jumping past it, man. You got someplace to be here, bud? You got a hot date tonight?
No, I'm telling you what I'm excited about.
Oh yeah, you're skipping past all these matches, man. You're going straight to the. You're going right to I gotta get out of here, boys. I know. I mean, I know. Claudia's been sending you nature pics, but geez, calm down, brother.
They were flowers. I told you. It's nature.
Yeah. I sent you pictures of her flowers.
All right. Well, we should slowly caress the next matches then.
So, Drew McIntyre, like I said, Drew McIntyre, Damian Priest. I think you're right. This one is they're going to put on a show. It doesn't matter who wins. At the end of the day, between the two of them, to be perfectly honest, it doesn't matter. If anything, maybe Damian needs to win. Maybe you could say Damian needs to win to help continue to establish himself. But then, as a big star. But then again, he's. I think if you look at it, I think he's actually older than Drew McIntyre is.
Yeah.
Even more reason he should win. He's got less time. If Drew McIntyre loses, he's not going to lose anything.
Yeah, well, I mean, Drew McIntyre's lost a couple recently, so I don't know.
He had Money in the Bank cashed in last year on him. Yeah, that's what it was.
I think at the end of the day, with that one, it doesn't matter who wins or loses on it. I think they'll put on a good match, and that's ultimately fine by me. AJ Styles versus the Maverick.
I love hating Logan Paul. He does his job so well. I went from actually hating him to now only hating his character because he just does it so well. I always respect people that are such good heels and they, even Nia Jax, God, I can't believe I'm saying this out loud. Even Nia Jax eventually won me over very, very recently in her recent run because of just how good a heel she is. And they all are that just lead into it and thrive off it and keep giving it and giving it and giving it. That's why the Miz is good as well. Some baddies, man, they're born to be baddies and they're great.
Yeah, I don't know. I would like to see AJ win because I hate Paul, but I don't know if I just don't trust that WWE will give it to AJ. That they'll let
I'm gonna go
fucking
with AJ
their
on that
little
one.
their little YouTube attraction star get us some more clicks, buddy. They'll let him get wins just because that's why he's there, is to get them so they can say, oh, look at this viral moment from the fucking WrestleMania. The only question is what will he jump off of and how far will it go? Is he gonna destroy the Spanish announce desk, or is it gonna be something else?
That's true.
Papa says AJ wins, but Logan is a beast in the ring. That would be. I could almost go with that.
Well,
I could be fine with that.
Logan Paul's really
secretly what
he's caught.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
The water. I was just saying, Logan Paul's really caught on to being a wrestler like a duck to water, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He performs well. I just like to see him not be a part-time wrestler.
Yeah, he needs to be a full-time.
He needs to earn his fucking shit.
I'm gonna grab another beer. I'll be back.
Agreed.
Part of me, what I longs to see before AJ retires, is I would just, because they got so many former Bullet Club members, I would just love to see a Bullet Club members get together,
absolutely,
in WWE at some point. I mean, they've got so many just former leaders even over there. So I mean, that would just be a great fucking thing in my mind. But all right, so he's away. Papa's typing. What'd you get here? Finn and AJ Cody. Yeah, that just to name a couple.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see, women's tag team championship match. I think that one we kind of can pretty much assume that Liv and Raquel retain. Because they're not going to give Lyra double belts. And
isn't it a slap in the face though that Liv and Valkyria are in a tag team match, for crying out loud?
Well, Liv is that's right. She is right now. She's a tag team champion, so it makes sense that she's in a tag team. But
come on, man.
To shoehorn Valkyria into it, does seem a little bit weird. And unfortunately, of all the people you got teamed with, you're with Bayley. I mean, I love Bayley. I think that Bayley is adore, but the way that WWE treats Bayley is just
what does she bring to the table that is so special compared to like any other person that deserves that spot?
Who?
Bayley.
Bayley's just a fucking legend at this point. She's done it all.
Mm-hmm.
She's been there. She's done it all. She's got, look at her accolades. Granted, she's a better heel than she is a face. Don't get me wrong. You go her stuff. Her times, especially when she was with Sasha. Oh my god, dude, that shit was like the fucking best. And all her ding dong hello shit and all that stuff, and it's all good stuff, man. But every once in a while they put her on this face roll, and it's like, the thing, if she wanted to go face like this, be full face, then I wish she would full on embrace her idol and go full on macho madness and just be the female incarnation of the Macho Man.
I just hate how they throw this role model down your throat as well. Like, come on. That's like the worst nickname ever.
That was her thing with Sasha Banks, though. That was like from back when she was a heel. So
get over yourself.
But that was why it was a heel thing originally. But anyways, I mean, it's just like, to me, it's just an obvious when you take a team like that you just kind of throw together, and then you say, "Oh, now they won some tournament, hooray! Now you're going to fight at WrestleMania." It's obviously they're not going to win. You're not going to give the belts to them. So this is just like think about, you could have put any number of other matches potentially on here. So yeah, let's move on. Liv Taylor, Raquel, who cares? She hasn't been a role model forever. That's true. Intercontinental Championship. Now here's another one where it's just too busy. Fatal four way.
I think Sorry.
I mean, there don't get me wrong. There's some good storylines potentially here, but I just get tired. I think of fatal 4-ways and 3-way matches. Sometimes I think that they're lazy, lazy way to get a bunch of people into a match, to fill out, to say these people all get their WrestleMania payday. I don't think that Braun Breaker, in this whole thing, he's got, to me, it's like, why is he there? The rest, I mean, granted, I know he's the title holder, don't get me wrong, but from a story point, it's like he's the least interesting in here of this group. The Dom and Finn Balor stuff, okay, great, I get it. Put both of them in here, because during this match, even if neither one of them wins, at some point there's going to be a one-on-one moment between the two of them.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to turn on somebody, whether it's Dirty Dom turning on Finn or Finn attacking Dom. One or the other, it's going to happen, and we're going to get more crazy story bits. That part excites the story guy in me that wants to see that. The give Penta his glory here and get him a WrestleMania match, great for him. But I just think that this isn't the right match for him to put him in a 4-way match right now. I don't think that that's the right showcase for him on this, and he's going to get lost in this match.
Yeah, but it's so he can jump off things and onto people.
Yeah, and Braun Breaker, to me,
I agree with Papa.
Don wins too early for Penta. Finn don't need it, and Braun could go after. Yeah, well, God, I don't want Braun going after Jay. I think Braun needs to move. They need to retool him. Right now, it's not his. He has the moves. He has wrestling funk capability, but the way that they're portraying him, where he's essentially nothing more than a spear and a clothesline and a Frankensteiner, and that's all he is. That's
but he's got that intensity, man.
But he's not no character. We're not seeing the character. All we're seeing is just like that. We've seen it with he's a fucking Ryback.
No, he's not.
Well, he's better than that.
Thank you, Papa.
No, he's not.
Tell me what's different. What's different?
He's not a Ryback.
What's different?
He's better in the ring than Ryback. I can tell you that.
What's that, man?
I think he's better in the ring than Ryback is.
Right.
I mean,
Ryback couldn't do a Frankensteiner. Okay, I got it. But I mean,
you're forgetting the Steiner line, baby.
Again, it's not Braun Breaker can't do. It's the way he's been packaged and the way and what he's doing. He's not being given the opportunity to really talk and everything. It's just he's being presented almost like, we want you to be Goldberg. Well, don't be Goldberg.
Yeah, I see that.
Be you, man. Let him be a Steiner, man.
But
I think
is this: Dom deserves to win this title. In my opinion, he's the best heel in wrestling right now, and I think he deserves it. He's all the work he's done as a heel. You want to strangle, you want to wring his neck when you see him.
Yeah, thank you, Papa. I look, I could see Dom potentially getting it just because it becomes kind of like he sneaks into it out the back doorway type of thing, and it pisses off Finn. Probably he either pins Finn or somehow Finn he bumps into Finn. Finn fucking falls out of the ring and misses his opportunity to get the pin, and he cleans it up and gets it right, like the sloppy seconds type thing. Something like that. I could see him backdooring his way into the title and then causing some storyline stuff. And, through a series of weird circumstances goes on to continue to hold it for a little bit of time. But at the end of the day, though, despite the kid having talent and showing constant improvement, his character though is not believable to beat any of them
exactly.
on his own, right?
Yeah, but that's the thing. That's why if he wins
Go
it
to heel.
in a sly means, and every time he defends it, he's to somewhat degree Eddie Guerrero-ing it back in the day. Like not
Yeah.
even though he's technically winning, he's not really overpowering people. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But it's the classic coward heel, like back in the days in the 80s. You know what I mean? Like begging off, like, oh, don't hit me, and then they cheap shot people, and I kind of like.
Well, yeah, I mean, he could potentially pull a flare type. I could see him doing a flare type of fighting and stuff. Because oftentimes you see flare, and I think he can grow into that ultimately. And if he does that, holy shit! Could you imagine the limit for him? Judgment.
Exactly
Right. Obviously, I think that this can lead to all that, and I think. Oh man, I would love to see Dom grow into like a modern day Flair, not from a styling profiling necessarily, but that type of fighter with the Eddie Guerrero vibe type shit stuff like.
Yeah, exactly.
That would be kind of cool, but ultimately, right now today, when I see it's like when I see him go into a match, I think the probability of him winning a one-on-one match against almost any member of the wrestler is as high as Tozawa winning a match. It's just not believable to me, right?
But in a four-way dance like that, though, anything can happen.
Anything can happen.
Yeah, exactly. Plus, I think they want to fast track Braun. I think they've wanted to for a long time.
Yep.
So yeah. All right. Io Sky, Bianca Belair, and Rhea Ripley.
I want Rhea to win.
I do too.
But I don't really know, to be honest with this one. There's good arguments every single way. My gut says I want Rhea to win. She's the, but and you say, but then you made Io's run really lame. But at the same time, they did that with Rhea when she just got the title back and had her drop it to Io for this weird, whatever this weird storyline is. I mean, so you could make a 3-way match out of this. This is just like really bizarre. So I don't know if maybe they give it back to her. Io, I would much rather see her go back and go back into the tag team scenario. I want her. I mean, her and Syra, Pirate Princess, whatever. Or whatever, to be able to have some really good talent on the women's tag team division. Have them then go after Liv and Raquel and defeat Liv and Raquel down the road. Or no, what are you telling me, Papa? I love Rhea.
I do too. I think she's one of the most over wrestlers in the company.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think there's my biggest complaint about Rhea is actually the way that they have her do matches, where she has to try to. I don't think she does a 50-50 match very well, or a match where she has to, for some reason, they build her as this big character, big powerful character that can take on guys or else, and then all of a sudden she faces some small girl like Liv Tyler, and they say, "Oh, Liv's going to dominate you for 70% of the match, and then you're going to squeak out a win or something." It's just not. That's bad booking.
Yeah,
and that's the shit. That's the shit that bugs me, because she should just be killing them.
Well, it's kind of like, I could just give you an analogy of like an old school match, like the first Hell in a Cell match. Undertaker's bigger than Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels gets in there and gets the brakes beat off of him for 30 minutes. And then he wins because Kane kind of, comes in there and interferes. And that's the way a person's undersized like that. You kind of have to play it like that.
Yeah, there's a certain level of credibility, and Rhea should just be killing people and stuff. So yeah, I mean, and Papa, I've always had a fetish for alt girls. So won't get over the fans.
It's too small to be believable sometimes. Like I watch one of these
to turn heel, take it away somehow.
I was listening to this podcast. It's got I don't know if you remember the old wrestler from Memphis. He was Zeb Coulter in WWE, Dirty Dutch Mantel. Yeah. He was saying he thought that like sometimes it's hard to believe that Io can beat anybody, especially Rhea Ripley, because she's so tiny.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it's
she
just
makes
true.
up for it though, with the shit she does, I reckon.
Right,
You
but
know,
that's why I want to. I'm sorry. That's why I really want to see her get back with her stable and do tag team, because the women's division needs talent right now in the tag team, and they could just tear that shit up and make a good run. Let them become one of the longest reigning tag team champions in the women's division or something, right?
Kind of makes that title mean more. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that would be, instead of just, oh, we partnered these two people together. I mean, right now when you're going like Raquel and Liv were marketing as like great champions because they've held the belt 3 times, but Raquel's like the times they've had the belts before is maybe all added up to be maybe 90 days. I mean, I don't know. Raquel would go out for, she spent more time on the shelf thanks to freaking these or something.
That's my problem with a lot of the tag team divisions is apart from when Jay and his brother Jimmy and Jay held the titles for so long, they let the tag titles change hands too many times.
Yeah.
Like you're saying, they had it for a total of 90 days and three title held the title 3 times, right? Less than like 30 days at a time.
Papa, who wears lingerie?
Mickey James. The Io Sky match.
Rhea. Oh,
yeah.
I don't think she does.
I'm actually, I'll tell you what, when I watch some of her matches, I'll tell you, I think from a waist down perspective, she's wearing about the same as any of these girls are. But what's really more concerning at times for me is when I'm watching her is thinking sometimes she's wearing like a barely there t-shirt that's been like tied or stitched at the moment. I'm thinking, what is holding her in? Because
I get worried about Tiffany because of the recent couple of episodes.
Well, she's had sometimes Tiffany's.
So I was wondering, like, geez, I hope she's been prepared this time. How many hiccups can you have?
Yeah,
Tiffany Stratton. I was talking about one night on Raw. They're about to pop right out.
Yeah, well, but I mean, in her case, it's because they're making her. Well, she wears basically a bikini top, and her bikini top is too small for her enhancements.
Yeah.
But when you look at in Rhea's case, it's just she wears a t-shirt that's like you can see the strap at the neck, and you can see the strap at the back, but she's got a bare back exposed, so she's not wearing anything else other than maybe she's got some pasties on or something underneath there. So it's like, my goodness, that's just can't be totally comfortable. But then again, what do I know? I've never wrestled with breasts like that, so what would I know? Anywho, all right, I guess that brings us to the end of this whole shindig with the final match of the night, the infamous Cody Rhodes versus Mr. You Can't See Me. Does he get the record-breaking title?
Up until we saw him both weeks in a row get Cody's shitty finishing move and be laid out unconscious, and Cody Rhodes walks off. I think when you see that, it says that John Cena's going to win.
Yeah.
Otherwise, why would he have taken those twice in a row? But I also find it hard to believe that Cody's not going to win just because of the way they do Cody. So I don't know, man. Either way, like I've already said as well, that whether John Cena loses or wins, he will win the world title at some point in the year and break that record. That's for sure. Just like he'll be a face again by the end of the year. But as far as WrestleMania, man, I don't know.
Yeah, that's the my part of when you look at certain things that lead you to believe certain stuff is like you go, okay, like you said, okay, 2 weeks in a row now leading up here, we've had a strong face champion walks the night off. So that usually indicates it goes the other way. Combined with you just had your heel champion on your other brand give up the title to your face champion. So are you going to have another face champion here, or are you going to now give it up to the heel? That's another indicator that potentially that you do the swap. From a storyline perspective, Cody's had his run here for a bit. Unless you're trying to, if he he wins, then what?
Yeah.
Where does he go? Versus, I would say, like who do you position to be next to be his challenger? Who's the next heel to be the challenger? Versus if he loses to Cena.
Well, they have left Randy Orton and CM Punk open for Cody.
Yeah, but do you see either one of them? I mean, okay, CM Punk, maybe you see him going against Cody, but do you see Randy going after Cody?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, I mean, granted, he did say that, hey, look, I know we're friends and everything, and if you get past this and I get past this, I'm coming for you. I mean, granted, they did set that up potentially, but I don't know. I just kind of see, part of me sees that from a story perspective, Cena winning it and then having this whole thing of trying to go, him having to fight again for it or somebody else to go do it. Ultimately, I don't want Cena to win. Personally, I think, it's like your time is done. Great. You're doing your retirement tour. I think having interjected him in all this was like too much to begin with. He should have just moved on. Ultimately, I don't know that he's not going to help anybody in this storyline, no matter what happens.
Yeah. Well, this is WWE though, and I'm almost 90% sure that John Cena is going to win this match to break the record at WrestleMania. I believe that's the whole reason they did it. And
sure,
what's going to happen.
Do you want Cody chasing or do you want Cena chasing? Says Papa. Well, it's not. I think who do I want? But I think it's what does wrestling storytelling typically tell us, right? Now, granted, they do break from. Triple H has shown a willingness to break from traditional tropes more than others.
That's true.
But I think though the hero's journey of having to overcome obstacles is the eternal basis of good storytelling, of classic storytelling, right? Comes a point, somebody comes along, the hero has to face adversity and question himself before he can rise back up again and overcome the odds. From that perspective, he did that with his 2-year arc with Roman Reigns. He's had the title now for a full year. Now it's that point of he needs that big challenge. The Rock we haven't seen or smelled of The Rock yet here during WrestleMania. He's probably around. We can obviously have Cena doesn't have to win clean. Cody gets screwed. The Rock comes out, does something, whether or not Austin comes out and there's a double screw and you think that Austin's coming out for the save, but instead Austin ends up screwing Cody as well and teams up with The Rock, or whether it's they just, Austin doesn't show up at all and it's just The Rock doing it and nothing else. Ultimately, I think from a story perspective, unfortunately, I think Cena wins.
I do too.
Yeah, wouldn't you like to see that? Would they do though a double screw job after you just saw Paul Heyman do a double screw job?
Oh, dude, I don't know, man. I just know that I'd love to see Austin join them. That would be. See, I don't see Austin being there enough to do that.
No, you just need to do it just for this one night story. That's all he needs to do, because then he can disappear again. You can just have he came and did. Why'd you do it? Oh, the old guard versus these new kids. This new kid, he's not.
I know that Dustin's done with WWE, but wouldn't it be wild if he come out and turned on his own brother?
Yeah, that's not happening. Dream on. Dream on.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, he doesn't. Yeah, you're right, Papa. He doesn't need to be there. I just know that there were rumors of, since he was in town already. I was assuming you talk about Austin. Since Austin was in town for the Hall of Fame thing, would they try to find a way to use him, type of thing?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they used Austin.
because
I wouldn't
they
be
didn't.
surprised if they used Austin at all.
They missed an opportunity last year.
heel
to use him.
turn.
What was interesting was obviously the stories of Kevin Owens having undergone neck surgery were obviously false, given that he was in the crowd there for the Hall of Fame and had no evidence of any having had his neck surgically repaired.
Good point.
You reckon?
He would have at very minimum been in some sort of neck brace and shit, holding him to. If his neck was so bad that he was going to require possible career-ending surgery, putting him out for years, there's no way that he would have had surgery and then been sitting in the crowd without any kind of neck brace or anything else. Yeah. It was obvious he hasn't had it yet.
Okay, remember, the dead man is still in town in Vegas too.
When's the stand-up bit, the roast of WrestleMania?
The roast?
Yeah, they're doing a roast of WrestleMania this year, Rob.
Oh, really?
Have you not seen that? It's part of the WrestleMania week.
I didn't see it. I didn't know it was part of it.
Yeah, they did an ad for it and everything where they had the comedian and they're like, oh, well, this could go downhill fast. I'd love it. And they announced it.
I don't even see it on Peacock where I'm looking right now.
Pop is saying it's tomorrow. I think maybe it's on the YouTube channel, like the Hall of Fame.
Okay. That would make sense.
Let's see. The roast of WrestleMania featuring Tony Hinchcliffe to take place. My God, 12 pop-up ads. Fucking A, WWE. Let's see. Takes place at Fontainebleau, Las Vegas, Sunday, April 20th. Let's see, at 10 p.m. Pacific time. So it will be after WrestleMania.
Well, I don't really like Tony Hinchcliffe, so I'm not even.
What time would that be for me?
At all. So I probably won't watch it.
Well, when WrestleMania ends?
No, when the roast starts. What time would it be?
An hour ago.
Okay, good. That means I can probably watch it because I am
tomorrow.
very, very curious. Yeah.
But aren't you going to be on here doing this instead?
Well, I'll watch it after. Yeah.
Let's see. Was this roast of WrestleMania features and friends? Passes are now available. What is this? But what is he doing?
I bet you Burt Kreischer will be there, wasn't he? In that, remember CM Punk had him choke slam those guys a few months back, or a while back, a few weeks ago or something.
What?
The comedian, that guy that always takes his shirt off.
Yeah.
Remember when he choke slammed
that guy.
Punk? He might be there.
Yeah, I don't know. But the guy that's doing the roast did commentary for one match on Raw the other day, and it didn't go that well.
I don't really care for his style of comedy. He has a show called Kill Tony, and
I don't know.
He would insult people and are mean to people. I don't think it's bullcrap. I don't like any of it.
Yeah, so this is going to be very, very interesting.
I'm not sure what exactly they're roasting because they're saying the roast. I mean, normally a roast, it's a person that you're roasting and telling jokes about, whatever else. But instead, here he's bringing some comedians, Sami Zayn, The Miz, Braun Strowman, and Paul Heyman, and some more are going to be there. But it doesn't say, are they just wrestling? They're just roasting WrestleMania itself, or. I mean, that's just lame.
That's why I want to watch it. I want to see what it's like.
It just sounds like a train wreck that's already happened and no one else has realized it yet.
Well, good on him for trying to think outside the box a little, I guess, and do something different. Oh, and actually, that reminds me, the Slammies are also coming soon. I saw that on the YouTube channel upcoming. I can't remember when. But I always enjoy the Slammies.
Yeah, I like the Slammies. I like the one when Owen Hart.
Yeah. Two Slammies.
Then he would carry it to the ring with him.
So that's tomorrow's lineup. We've got it covered. We'll be back again tomorrow here on the Aussieverse, the Aussieverse, the Aussie Omniverse.
Aussieverse. I am OmniBeau. Joined by
or are you the Beauverse?
No, it's not the Beauverse. It's definitely the Aussieverse. I am nothing without peoples. Where can people find you guys?
Well, not in Australia. None of us are from Australia. Hence, why are we on the Aussieverse? Where are these Australians?
They're not into wrestling like I am.
Interesting.
I'm glad
They're all
I'm
too
here.
busy. They're all too busy checking out nature photography.
Yeah, apparently.
I need to get on that message board.
Well,
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us tonight here on the Aussieverse. Heroes for Hire. You make sure you check him out, all his shows, his auctions, everything going on. Matt, it's Heroes for Hire Comic Club, correct?
yes, sir.
Phenomenal. And of course, Papa Wheelie, who of course on Thursdays does his show, Sweet Chin Music. Absolutely. Make sure you check out him. And of course, for all your comic book needs and reading and OmniBook talk and anything else, weekly upcoming books, make sure you check it out. This channel right here, if you're not subscribed, what are you doing? It makes no sense. And remember, Aussieverse is for eating. No, it's for something.
Life for life.
Endo it's for life.
I need to get some NWO clips, man. Of them
Cut
doing
it
that.
out.
That could be my
Oh,
outro. That could be my outro. Down.
I thought you
down,
had a whole
down.
bunch of people doing them. You just piece together all your comic celebrities.
We'll catch you tomorrow after WrestleMania night 2.